Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Friend Chad Pearson, and welcome again to my channel. It is Tuesday, August 26th of 2025, 10:54 in the p.m. I am feeling a little bit better today, catching up on my sleep. People, I have been wanting to share a story with you guys for years. Thank you guys who have been around me for, 4+ years. My old channel, Friend Chad Pearson. Welcome to Friend Chad Blue. You know, God gave me this gift of the 5 C's. And before I knew what it was, back in the day in terms of decoding, I just coined things that would happen to me, INSPA, short for inspiration. And I could see things and feel things and like see the future, however you want to coin it. Well, I never shared with you guys this story, but I'm going to share it with you guys tonight. Now, let me show you this first of all, and then we'll go from there, okay? I want you to hear it, and I'll play it again, okay? Let me set the volume up. I want you to hear this.
Want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure. You heard of the mystery of the Loretto Chapel. So they're building this chapel in New Mexico, and the French architect who was building this chapel all of a sudden died, and he did not complete the staircase to the choir loft. Sisters of the Loretto Chapel, they pray to Saint Joseph that someone is sent to build these stairs. At the end of the 9 days of prayer, this man comes in from across the desert riding a donkey, walks into the church, and he says, "I was sent here to build stairs."
Stop it!
Listen, he built these stairs in 3 months and just dipped. The sisters were like, well, we didn't pay him. So the sisters went to the lumberyard and said, do we owe you anything? They said, this man never came and got wood from us.
Oh my goodness.
And there's not a single nail used on this staircase. The curator of this chapel, he brought in over 120 experts. They said, we don't know how to do that. These sisters believe that Joseph himself came because he was a carpenter.
Oh my gosh, wait.
You want to hear something really fascinating?
Sure.
Crazy, isn't it? Listen to this one.
This is the miraculous staircase of Loretto Chapel in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It was built by a mysterious man who showed up for construction. He worked for 6 months using only a saw, hammer, carpenter's square, and hot water to shape the wood. He eventually carved this staircase from a single piece of wood. The rails were added later. After finishing his job, he left without taking any payment or giving his name. The staircase has no center or outside supports, but the quality of construction keeps it standing in place. It is still studied by architects and engineers for its stunning craftsmanship. This is the miraculous staircase of Loretto Chapel in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It was built by a mysterious man.
A mysterious man, Loretto Chapel. This was one of a many situations that I encountered over my life, and it still has me in amazement. The Bible says that God works in mysterious ways. I used to date a girl that as I mature, I realized I lost her. It takes a while to become a man. But I digress. I dated a lady who was just as creative as I was. I wrote poems, I wrote music, I sang, I performed. But she's a writer. She's a very, very good writer. We broke up over 25 years ago. I won't mention her name. I got half the man to track her down, so I'm single again. But here's the thing. I believe God paired us up like a divine mystery. This girl was touched, and she had visions. And when she had visions in her sleep or as she was awoke, she would put those in a book. And Many times she would see places and then just travel and go there. And so, because I was dating her, I would fly around with her. One of the places that we went to was the Loretto Chapel. Because in her book, I'm not sure if she published it, but I'm co-author. Welcome to subscribers. I am Friendship Pearson. I am welcome to Friendship Blue. You guys know I've got tons of these. I wrote for different newspapers and magazines back in the day. As you can see, this is all the way from November 16th of 1979. Now, what she did, I don't know, should you say it, should you call it tongue in cheek? When I was at work or when I was too busy to know, she was taking a lot of my material and making it into characters. In other words, let's say I had 400 articles that I had written over the last 20 something years. She would read my material also and put that in the book. And I think her book was like 1,000 pages, whatever. And I would just ask her, like, when you gonna finish this book, girl? This is a lot. This is getting thick. But once you started it, you were spellbound. That's how good of a writer she was. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna start reading it. So I started reading her book. And I started seeing me in the book. I'm like, girl, you took a lot of my material from newspapers and magazines and you put them in your book. So we fought intellectually over it. And long story short, we broke up. Still hurts my heart to talk about it, but I'm the co-author of a book that might be out there. Then again, I don't know what she's done, because here's my receipts. Way back in March of 1999, see the copyright logo? See the book? She probably changed the name. Keeping Secrets, Love, Hate, and Happiness. Keeping Secrets, Love, Hate, and Happiness. See my name, Friendship Pearson. I got rid of the address and I covered up her name on purpose, but you can see the logo of the copyright. I have copyrights on that book. I still have the actual Library of Congress letter from back in the day. Probably see that there, March something of 1999. The copyright. See that? Copyright Home Office, Washington, D.C. This is when you mailed your copyrights in back in the day. See that? Now you can do everything online. But I wind up being co-author of the book, which is fair, because a lot of my material was in it. But this woman can write, multi-talented. But she was gifted. God would give her visions and dreams. And like I said, we went to this place called Loretto Chapel. It's a former Roman Catholic church in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I fell in love with that area, very much so. Love the red rocks, love the hills, love the mountains. Love the mountains. It's now a privately owned museum and wedding chapel. You heard about it. I don't have to read about it. If you guys know about it, put it in the chat. I'll show you some images. It's a beautiful place. It's just gorgeous. And I'm gonna go back. Tonight it came to me and I'm like, let's do this. There are no words as to how this thing was built. No words. It defies imagination. Like they say, they brought in 120 different carpenters. They're like, we don't do that kind of work. This is where me and her come in. She had a vision of this place. And one day she told me about it. She says, we're going to catch another plane. We're going to go to Santa Fe, New Mexico when you got some vacation time coming up. And I told her, so we got on a plane. We went to Santa Fe. And we couldn't find it. I think it was like 2 days. We could not find this place. Nobody knew where it was. So we stopped in I want to say a souvenir place. Yeah, it was a souvenir place. And we asked the person there. She didn't know. So while I was there, we bought what do you call it? Postcards to let people know where we were. And she had hers, I had mine. So we're filling them out. So we decided to go get something to eat. So we went and got something to eat. We sat down and we met a few people at this whatever cafe, whatever it was, we're eating. And just so happened, we met some people from Chicago. Look, it's crazy. We met people from Chicago. And we told them what they asked what we were doing. Told them, you know, at the time I was, you know, full-time doing my, you know, my KFC, and I was a writer and performer. But she was a full-time writer and she was working at a hotel. Anyway, we struck up conversations about the attractions and things. And for some reason, we got on the subject of the Loretto Chapel. And guess what? They knew exactly where it was. And we went there. When I tell you it was one of the most heavenly experiences I ever had in my life, I still feel my spirit there. And she just gleamed. Her face was radiant. Everything that she put in the book that I can remember, everything that she described in the book was there. And let me share this with you. I went into a place where I literally went, I don't want to call it a portal, but I went somewhere. And I could hear them, but the people couldn't see me. And I know they couldn't see me because I was talking, trying to get people's attention. And they were like 4 or 5 feet away from me and they could not hear me. This is the true story. I've been wanting to tell this story on YouTube for a long time. When I was in this chapel, I don't know, it's 1989, okay? It's been a long time. But I was there, and let's just say I got lost. I was there with groups of people, me and her, and somehow I got separated. I don't want to say in time, I don't know how to describe it, but I was there. And like I said, I was speaking and people weren't hearing me. And I saw this place in such a way that I just felt heaven. And before you know it, I came out of it. And I just don't know how I shook off that moment, but I went in it and I came out to the natural or the reality of everything. Okay. Now, when we got done, we went back to that cafe to eat, and it was either me or her. We went back to get some more postcards. It was a different person there this time. We went in there, and the postcards were in a basket. Let's say the basket was this big. I still remember as if it was yesterday. Let's say the basket was this big, and it was wicker. It was wicker, and so there were postcards lined up on every corner. So I got there, and I asked the guy. I said, "We just bought these postcards from you a little while ago," and I showed him the one about the chapel. In between, I believe she had already mailed off hers. So all I had was my maybe 2 chapel cards. He's like, We don't sell those. Look, I'm telling you, it was the spookiest thing up to that moment in my life. I'm like, we were just here a few hours ago. In this basket were these cards. I says, I bought these from here. He said, no, we don't sell those. But the key to this is this. It was that postcard with this on it, that picture, that we had the conversation with those people from Chicago, who in retrospect, who knows if they were really people? I don't know. They might have been angels, you see, because I'm tripping out. She tripping out. Because we are recalling all of this. We couldn't find the place for 2 days. Don't ask me why. And then we meet these people from Chicago. They knew everything about everything, Lakeshore Drive, Sears Tower, whatever. It was just talking. And I showed them the postcard. And they're like, yeah, go down the street, make a left, whatever it was. We got there. And then I get lost in spirit. And then we come back to the place and the person say, I don't sell that postcard. That's my story of Loretto Chapel. Now listen to some other stuff. I know, look, again, I've been wanting to tell this story for a while. Listen to this here.
About the staircase built in the 1800s, still unanswered. This historic structure in Santa Fe holds a mystery, a staircase that attracts people from all over the world.
Before COVID, we got as many as 250,000 people a year visiting.
Richard Lindsley is the curator at Loretto Chapel.
I want to widen the screen for you guys.
He says the mystery began when the French architect behind the chapel died in 1878 before a staircase to the choir loft was built. So the Sisters of Loretto turned to prayer.
And they said a 9-day prayer in Catholic traditions known as a novena, asking St. Joseph to pray for them to Jesus to help them with their problem. On the last day of their novena, this man rides in off the desert on a donkey, an elderly man with a gray beard as they described him, and told them he had come to build a staircase.
He says the man worked on the staircase for 3 months and then vanished without getting paid. And the lumberyard told them the man didn't get any materials from them.
So that's why the sisters, because of their prayers, his description, and the usual event about the wood, came to the conclusion that our Lord Jesus sent St. Joseph from heaven to build a staircase. And that's why originally it was known as the miraculous staircase.
It represents.
And when you go to the second floor, if I can remember, it's narrow, but it's like, I guess where the choir is at. It's the place is beautiful. I gotta go again. Listen to these few things here.
Who showed up for construction. He worked for 6 months using only a saw, hammer, carpenter's square, and hot water to shape the wood. He eventually carved this staircase from a single piece of wood. The rails were added later. After finishing his job, he left without taking any payment or giving his name. The staircase has no centered or outside supports, but the quality of construction keeps it standing in place. It is still studied by architects and engineers for its stunning craftsmanship.
This historical piece of carpentry will have you questioning fate and engineering. This is the miraculous staircase of Loretto Chapel. In the 1870s, the nuns of Loretto Chapel in Santa Fe faced a problem: no way to reach the choir loft. They prayed to St. Joseph, the patron saint of carpenters, and then, as if by magic, a mysterious carpenter appeared. This unknown craftsman built a spiral staircase with 2 full 360-degree turns, no central support, no nails, no glue, only wooden pegs, and then he vanished without a trace or payment. Tests reveal the wood isn't native to the area, adding to the enigma. Was it a wandering carpenter, a divine intervention, or perhaps St. Joseph himself? To this day, the miraculous staircase remains an unsolved mystery, captivating visitors and believers alike.
So yeah, they wanted to get the choir loft finished. And this guy came out of nowhere on a donkey, right? And then, some say 3 months, but 6 months it took. And then he disappeared. And then they went to the place where they thought that he worked. They said they don't know the guy. He never existed. And again, when we got back to the cafe, the guy's like, hell. He's like, hey, we don't sell those postcards. And that couple that we met to guide us there, I don't think they were real. I think God sent angels to get us to. Well, look, you might not believe this stuff, but like I told you, I've been studying peculiar things, the paranormal, whatever you want to call it, all my life. That's just the way I'm built. I'm not scared of the spirit realm. I know that there's a dark realm. I know that there's a positive one. And God's got beautiful angels that guide us and direct us. But tell me, have you had an experience like this? Have you been to this place, Loretto Chapel? Have you been to Loretto Chapel? And if you did, what was it like? What was your experience? It's been 25, 26 years. And I still feel like I was just there yesterday. It did something to me that's almost indescribable. And I fell in love with New Mexico. I fell in love with Mexico. I fell in love with the Grand Canyon. I just felt in love with that, like my spirit was there. And that's where I need to be. And who knows, one day I might move there. I got my options because I'm single now again. But people, I tell you, you pray and you act on your gift. You never know where it's going to lead you or what you might encounter. But I know one thing. There was a carpenter. His name was Jesus. He's still building and repairing lives today. It's time to get right, stay right, get ready for the flight, because he's coming again. Hallelujah.